New ticket price, shock, perfect slot successor, found. Post-Salah era begins. Roy Hodgson returns at 78. Welcome back to LFC Echo Daily, your home for all things Liverpool. If you love Liverpool content, make sure to like, subscribe, follow, and drop your thoughts in the comments. In another news, he ticks every box. FSG can't miss deal to appoint ideal Arne Slot successor. Although the Premier League champions only lost 2-0, it was a thorough dismantling. PSG proved once again their Champions League credentials, a year on from winning the tournament for the first time in their history. Gone are the days of PSG being a byword for a bloated star-first model. In the space of a year between 2023 and 2024, they waved goodbye to Neymar, Lionel Messi, Sergio Ramos, Kylian Mbappe, and more. Their much-vaunted front three were making somewhere in the region of €200 million a year between them and had no Champions League to show for it. Instead of following the template set down over previous iterations of PSG, the club followed a different path. Under sporting director Luis Campos, they invested in younger players, lean, hungry, and destined to improve as the years went by. And it all came together under the tutelage of Luis Enrique. Luis Enrique is the conductor of the PSG orchestra. Signed in 2023, the Spanish head coach led his team to the treble in his second season in charge. Ousmane Dembele, so long a punchline, won the Ballon d'Or under his care. PSG's business acumen has sharpened under Campos, but the conductor of this orchestra is Luis Enrique. It doesn't bear repeating how quickly PSG get the ball forward, their dazzling ability 1v1 especially out wide, their interchangeability across practically all positions, their willingness and work ethic, not to mention Luis Enrique's contentment to use his academy players. In short, they are everything Liverpool hoped to be, as evidenced by Arne Slot's frequent allusions to the French capital side over the course of the past year, with Mo Salah and potentially Alisson Becker leaving this summer, not to mention Virgil van Dijk following suit in another 12 months. They are facing the kind of rebuild that PSG had to do under Luis Enrique, so why not go for him to oversee the work? FSG need to test the waters for Luis Enrique. A report in Football Transfers claims that Real Madrid are targeting Luis Enrique to arrive as their new head coach this summer. Although the 55-year-old appears content in Paris, there is speculation over his future given his current deal only runs until 2027. Madrid clearly believe there's a chance he will return to a club he represented as a player. But if FSG don't at least reach out to the double-treble winner, they will be doing a disservice to all the hard work they've done over the years at Anfield. FSG want to reduce the wage bill. Liverpool are seeking 1v1 quality on the wings. The club has to transition away from established, well-paid superstars and trust the academy players more. Luis Enrique has proven to be the man to undertake all this work during his so far brief stay at the Parc des Princes. It will be a tough sell, especially with Liverpool unsure of even being in the Champions League next season. But Luis Enrique ticks all the boxes right now, and even Real Madrid know it. In other news, how Liverpool could line up next season with 3 transfers after Salah and Robertson exits. Liverpool will lose long-serving stars Andy Robertson and Mo Salah in the summer, and Arne Slot's side have many other issues that need addressing in the transfer window. It is all change at Liverpool this summer, with 2 long-serving stars announcing their departures and others eyeing the exit after a challenging campaign. Andy Robertson has joined Mohamed Salah in confirming that he will be leaving after 9 years, giving the summer transfer window even more emphasis. Liverpool spent nearly £450 million last summer on Milos Kerkez, Hugo Ekitike, Florian Wirtz, Jeremy Frimpong, Giovanni Leone and Alexander Isak, and yet find themselves in desperate need of new arrivals once again after a miserable attempt at defending their Premier League title. With Salah and Robertson leaving, the backbone of the successful Jurgen Klopp era has nearly disappeared, with just Alisson and Virgil van Dijk remaining, albeit with questions swirling around their ability to perform at the top level consistently. After some missteps in the transfer market, owners Fenway Sports Group and Director of Football Richard Hughes are under huge pressure to deliver in the off-season and get the team back on track. But how will they do it? Here Mirror Football casts an eye over the squad, considers who might be joining Salah and Robertson in waving goodbye and who could be targeted as replacements in key positions. Defence Liverpool's backline has been markedly worse this season and changes are coming. Alisson has struggled with injuries this season, but the Reds already secured a backup last summer in the form of Georgi Mamadashvili, who hasn't convinced. Those two are likely to remain into next season. There will certainly be new faces in central defence, with Giovanni Leoni coming back from an ACL injury and Jeremy Jacquet arriving from Rennes, having been signed for £60 million in January. They could find themselves replacing Ibrahima Konate and Joe Gomez, who are facing uncertain futures. Konate's contract expires in June, and his shaky form could see him following Robertson and Salah out the door as a free agent. Gomez, 28, has another year on his contract, but has been linked with an exit, given his status as backup. That means another central defender could be on the cards this summer. Crystal Palace's Maxence Lacroix and Bournemouth's Marcos Senesi have been mentioned in reports as proven Premier League options, while Borussia Dortmund's Nico Schlotterbeck and Eintracht Frankfurt's Namdi Collins are also on the radar. Frimpong and Kerkez were signed last summer, essentially to replace Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson, so little change is expected in those positions, with Connor Bradley and, potentially, Kostas Tsimikas providing backup. Midfield, on paper, Liverpool have lots of high-quality options in central midfield, yet there has clearly been a drop-off this season. The biggest thing that stands out for me that Liverpool have lost is the press, Jamie Carragher said last month. Pressing wasn't just a Jurgen Klopp thing, but the whole point of people saying it's tough going to Anfield is not that Liverpool are always amazing on the ball or got the best players. It was that it's a tight pitch, the fans are on top of you. Liverpool get after you and win the ball back and go forward, and that is something that is sorely lacking and is the biggest problem at Liverpool right now. While Dominic Szoboszlai has been the best performer in 2025-26, the form of Alexis Mac Allister and Ryan Gravenberch has dipped, and a fresh face in the middle of the park could be required. Eduardo Camavinga has slipped slightly down the pecking order at Real Madrid, and still only 23, is an intriguing prospect. According to L'Equipe, Real are now willing to hear offers for the midfielder who could bring back the intensity. You cannot find a Mo replacement, Slot said recently, before stating that the primary solution was to have Wirtz, Ekitike and Isak fit at the same time. That is, of course, a reasonable point given Isak's injury problems this season, but Rio Ngumoa isn't about to replace Salah by himself. A signing is needed. Bayern Munich star Michael Olise has been touted by pundits, but there is surely no way the France star can be persuaded to leave his star-studded and in-form side for this current Liverpool one. Liverpool splashed 2 record fees last summer, spending £116 million on Wirtz and £125 million on Isak, and yet still find themselves needing to do more deals a year later after Salah announced his departure. RB Leipzig's Jan Diomande has been catching the eye, but is only 19 years old and could require a lot of patience. Another intriguing option is Brighton's Yankuba Minte has caught the eye in spells this season following a £33 million move from Newcastle and is reportedly being considered. Slot worked with the winger during his time in the Eredivisie with Feyenoord, potentially giving the 21-year-old an edge. In another news, Roy Hodgson impact at Bristol City as ex-Liverpool boss 78 makes comeback. Bristol City midfielder Scott Twine has praised Roy Hodgson's influence since the 78-year-old was appointed interim boss following Gerhard Struber's departures. Roy Hodgson has been massive for Bristol City in the early stages of his tenure, according to Scott Twine, with the attacking midfielder eager to absorb as much knowledge as possible from the Robins interim manager. Following the decision to part company with Gerhard Struber as head coach 2 weeks ago, City appointed former Liverpool manager Hodgson, who is 78, as its interim boss until the end of the campaign, with the former Crystal Palace chief returning to Bristol 44 years after his last spell in charge. The ex-England boss had been enjoying retirement for 2 years before his appointment in March, meaning the choice to entrust him with the Robins run-in surprised supporters. Yet on the pitch, Hodgson has enjoyed an ideal beginning to his temporary role. City secured victories in both its Easter fixtures to move within 9 points of the playoff places with 5 matches remaining. While the 78-year-old's time on the training pitches has been restricted, he has influenced the squad's outlook. I didn't hear anything until it got put on social media about the old gaffer leaving and this gaffer coming in, but I've had stranger things that have happened in football, Twine told Bristol Live when asked about Hodgson's arrival. That's football at the end of the day. Things move on, you've got to move on quickly, and I think we've done that. He's obviously brought a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience. Everything he says it for a reason, and there's purpose behind it. I think that's helped us and has been shown in the couple of games we've had. I think he came in knowing that we were obviously in a bad run of form and he wanted to keep it as simple as possible. I think that's exactly what we needed at that time. So I think he's been massive for us. Every training session, meeting, you take little things out of it, which go into games which have been really important for us. He's obviously had a brilliant career, and I can tell that from just the couple of weeks that he's been in so far. I've definitely taken things from him which show that he's been at the highest level for so many years, and I just want to take as many things as possible. That's all for today's Liverpool updates. Stay tuned for more breaking news, and we'll see you in the next one. Liverpool FC released new ticket price statement as club is told of existential threat of planned increases. MP says he is appalled by 3-year price increase plan as Reds CEO Billy Hogan offers clarity behind decision. Liverpool FC's decision to increase ticket prices over the next 3 years has been described as an existential threat for fans as the Reds chief executive issues a new statement defending the controversial decision. At the end of last month, Liverpool announced ticket prices would be rising in line with the Consumer Price Index for inflation over the next 3 years. This will see season ticket prices increase next season from between £21.50 and £27, while the cost of individual match tickets for those without season tickets will go up from between £1.25 and £1.75. Additional increases will then follow in the subsequent 2 seasons. The move has caused major anger with fans, with the Liverpool Supporters Union, Spirit of Shankly, now organising matchday protests at Anfield over the rising ticket prices, beginning with Fulham's visit on Saturday. Reds fans group Spy on Cop 1906 are also set to remove their flags from the Cop in protest at the rising prices. The group said its iconic flags will not be on display for the remaining Anfield fixtures this season, apart from next week's Champions League match with PSG, where respects will be paid for the 37th anniversary of the Hillsborough disaster. Today, Liverpool West Derby MP Ian Byrne, a lifelong Reds fan and member of the Spirit of Shankly Management Committee, accused the club of trying to kill off something that every club would want in terms of the famous Anfield atmosphere by hitting hard-up fans with multi-year price increases. But in a lengthy statement issued to Reds season ticket holders and members this afternoon, LFC CEO Billy Hogan sought to explain the rationale behind the club's decision. He said, "No one at Liverpool Football Club takes decisions on ticket pricing lightly. We have a responsibility to run the club sustainably and to do so with an ambitious vision, to compete for all major trophies, to win trophies and to keep winning trophies. That requires strength on the pitch, and it also requires that we compete in every way possible off the pitch. The landscape around us is relentlessly competitive, and many costs that are rising across the club and the industry are outside of our control." He added, "Like households and businesses across the country, everyone is feeling cost of living pressures, and the club is not immune to those cost rises either. Our matchday operating costs at Anfield have risen significantly in recent years, up 85% including Anfield Road, or 57% excluding Anfield Road, over the past decade, with utility costs up 107% over just the past 4 years, and business rates up 286% in that same period. Over the last decade, we have increased ticket prices by just 4% to keep any rise in ticket prices to a minimum." Mr. Hogan said that it is against this backdrop that the club believes that linking any increases to inflation, confirmed as a 3% rise for next season, is the fairest and most transparent way to attempt to cover some of those uncontrollable costs. The Reds boss said the ticket price rises will not fully cover the club's increased costs, but will help and allow more investment back into the club. The club says every pound generated is reinvested back into the playing squad and infrastructure. Mr. Hogan added, "Record revenue does not equate to profit given these ever-increasing costs, and that's borne out by the losses the club has reported over the years." But for Mr. Byrne and the rest of the Supporters Union, this explanation is unlikely to dampen down the anger being felt, with particular outrage at Liverpool introducing a multi-year price increase across the next 3 seasons. The West Derby MP told The Echo, "I'm utterly appalled, astounded and ashamed that Liverpool are the first club to come up with a multi-year price increase. The negotiations we have been having with them over the last 12 months have been pointless because they are utterly tone deaf. We will be relentlessly saying that this is an existential threat. If you keep increasing the prices in an area like Liverpool, which is suffering from a cost of living point of view, then you are killing something that every club in the world would want, which is the Cop. Why would you want to take away your USP? We thought this message had hit home, but the people who run the club in Boston have just carried on with this. There are certain lines in the sand where the match-going supporters who are steeped in the club and its history have just said, enough is enough. He added, we have been treated with disdain as a supporters group, so it is now a case of the supporters who create so much of the atmosphere at Anfield, and why so many people want to come and experience it, now withdrawing their labour because they don't feel valued by the club. It is so sad, particularly at a time when the club really needs its supporters. It's just a terrible strategic decision by the club. Explaining the decision behind the 3-year approach, Mr. Hogan said this is to provide certainty and clarity to fans over a number of seasons rather than unexpected annual changes. He said the move limits any increase over the next 3 seasons to the rate of inflation. He added, we do recognise how world events can impact inflation, which is why the club has capped any increase to a maximum of 5% for season 2 and 3, should inflation increase beyond this number. The club says that under current forecasts, adult general admission matchday tickets will rise by between 3 and 4.50 pound over the full 3 years, while the most expensive adult GA match ticket in 2028-29 will be 65.50 pound. Adult general admission season tickets would increase by between 53.50 pound and 67.50 pound over 3 years, with the most expensive in 2028-29 coming in at 971.50 pound. The CEO told the club's members that Liverpool is operating in a league where other clubs have increased prices at a materially higher rate over the past decade, pointing out that since 2016-17, LFC's competitors in the top 6 have increased ticket fees by an average of 17%, while Anfield's prices have gone up by 4% in the same period. Mr. Hogan said the club remains committed to continued meaningful engagement with the club's supporters board on ticketing policy and other matters. He confirmed that no decision has been made for what will happen with pricing after the 3-year period.